Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John's Reporters for the 16th, and well, we talked about this as we were stabilizing here. We continued to have rising midterm buyers here in the green, and I said that they just needed to get over the hump of shorts, which they did, and that caused a little bit of breakout, which did take us, well, right up to the peaks here. We get right there. We're like right at the highs. Interesting, we're starting off with a little bit of a DOC spread in the sense that midterm buyers are fading, but we've got support of long-term buyers. And it's important to see that orange moving out of the zone here that's caught in between. That will end the continuation and give us the breakout move. It hasn't quite happened yet, but looks fairly close, getting near potential overbought. So some money starting to thin out yet. That could prevent it from breaking out. Plus, you need more of a short activity. We need to see that cyan above that zero level, and that would give you an indication that shorts are activating in a midterm. Short-term buyers here in the steel right here in this color rising, which means they're getting a little bit overdone. So we may see a little more consolidation within that, but still, that was a pretty decent move the other day, and we can see the NQ, and we talked about the technology issues and why they're having some, plus the fact that they were a bit ahead of where everything else was. But this potential for an industrial revolution in America and or return to industrial movement, look at what it does to the Dow Industrials. They are pre-buying that one big time, and now it's certainly leading the market. An interesting choice going from where tech was leading to now having brick and mortar kind of, actual heavy machinery being the leading impetus for rebirth. So it's definitely a change in dynamic, and this is that rotation that actually is happening quite smoothly. I thought there might be a little bit more of a disruption with it, but it's not taking place. The real pressure is going to be on the dollar, and it's continuing to rise, and you can see here we're about to break that 107 for the euro. So within our projections, I mean, we were in the 140.50 range, and I was saying that it was an easy short into the 120s, and then from the 120s, we were looking at heading down into these single digits. We actually had quite a bit of strength, and that was the Fed holding things up during a lot of the difficulty, because the reality is the whole Eurozone is still, from Greece on down, having a lot of difficulties, and so the prop up of the euro, I'm expecting it to go sub 1, but that could take a little while because, again, the Fed does need it, and so that may not happen until, next year after a Trump presidency starts and some of the changes in policy take place. Yeah, you could get some oversold reaction to bonds, but the reality is rates are going to be rising whether they like it or not, and there's just no way to combat that. Oil, this is a little bit more of a specious one with the amount of oversupply that exists. These kind of pops are beautiful because they're opportunities to short into it. And people say, how can you short into it when it's already this decimated? And it's like, yeah, because when you have that kind of increased supply without massive growth or an indication of growth, now this will be our early signal for growth when it's starting to take place. So at a certain point, there's going to be a transition. Right now, though, the hype exceeds it because when you have supplies that can't even be offloaded, you've got problems. If you got nowhere to put the stuff, what are you going to do? You have to turn wells off. And good old gold, it's just going to bounce around here. Dead cat sort of situation. It's still looking ugly. You can see our orange is like really now right in between that zone of the cyan and red for DOC, indicating that no, we haven't changed any trend whatsoever, that we're going to hit the same situation. And here we have the 5K. So we had the little gradual, there were some short signals in there, but the majority of the time we've seen a shakeout plus on the positive side. And then we kept breaking down with the cyan moving below red periodically throughout this. And once it began over here, it was just right before the breakout there, and boom, that just took off. And pretty straightforward. When you get that cyan underneath red, there's just nothing that needs to be done. You just sit back and let it rip. I did begin to, right before they started with this little spike right here, as we began to reach that peak, and you saw that right there, covered a small portion of what was a larger position right there as we Place stops at the key areas that were, well, that was earlier before the morning. And obviously, short algo has risen. We've got a little breakdown to it. The beginnings of a DOC spread at this particular point, but a lot of that positive extreme, it's got to get filled all the way back into these areas, which is just about taking place at this moment. So that sort of finalizes things there. But as always, look for me on the Skype chat. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.